and I wanted to zoom in, get a little more detail over here, zoom in. Oh, this is fantastic. I really didn't want to have to buy this. Hello and welcome to another NihongoGamer video. What you can see here is the Expresskey Remote. This is for Wacom tablets, but generally any computer if you want to have a remote control for shortcuts on your keyboard, so you don't want to have to carry around one of these all the time. And the reason that I say that I would prefer not to have had to have bought this is that I actually don't like that this is not Bluetooth, it is actually wireless, and it comes with its own wireless receiver. So you have to plug a wireless receiver into your computer in order to use this. But the benefit is that if you have a drawing tablet that doesn't have buttons like these here on the Mobile Studio Pro or on the old Cintiqs where they have buttons here and slidey things there, you can get one of these. And in fact, on Wacom's mainline Cintiq computers, they don't actually have buttons on them anymore. They actually just say, go and buy one of these remotes if you want shortcut keys. And that's probably because if you put all the buttons on one side of the computer, then if it's not a computer that can be rotated like this, then it's going to be a little bit of a bummer for people who are left-handed or right-handed, whichever side they decide to put the buttons on. Which is why I've ended up going to buy this, so I'm going to unbox it for you now. It's called the Expresskey Remote. Sorry, it fits better sideways. So here it is, the Expresskey Remote. It has a button here and 3 different modes. Just says Expresskey Remote by Wacom here on the side. And on the back, the contents of what's inside the box. Just for reference, this cost me about 12,000 yen, which is about $100, and I'm going to unbox it for you now. It's quite expensive for a remote, but the reason I bought it is that I actually tried to hack one of these Joy-Cons. I heard online that you could use a Joy-Con for shortcuts on your computer, but it was such a headache. It kept failing and buttons were not working, and it was like, why am I wasting all this time with these I was like spending hours trying to figure out what the problems were, and there were various software issues, you know, just connection issues, and I was like, why am I even bothering? Why can't I get this out of the box? Sorry, Huion, I'm going to use the pen tip to unbox something. Alright, that looks pretty good. And actually, I did want this before, but I just didn't like that it needs this little Wi-Fi adapter. So you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that you have to plug this in, and it's not USB-C, which means I have to use an adapter, so I'll have a dongle coming out of my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro if I want to use this with it. This is the remote itself. It comes in plastic like so. I'll just rip it out of the plastic. This is the remote itself, looks pretty good. I'm not 100% sure how many buttons there are, but this is a mode dial. This is the touchpad, touch ring, so you can change like volume or brush size for that sort of thing for drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I count 12 buttons here on the front, plus you also have an up button, a left button, a right button, and a down button. This is the bottom of the remote. I assume that's some sort of power button, and micro USB or mini USB? Micro USB for charging. And I actually quite like the back. It says Wacom, but it's got this nice soft feel, so you won't actually damage anything that if you put this down on the screen of your tablet, you're not going to damage the screen because it's nice and soft and protective. So in fact, I don't need this shortcut key remote if I'm drawing on my Mobile Studio Pro, because it does have these buttons here on the side. But because if you look down here, I'm actually in the process of reviewing a Huion drawing tablet, which is actually really impressing me right now. I'm going to have the review up as soon as possible, but as you can see, there are no buttons here on the side. And in fact, that's the case for most Wacom tablets anyway. So this is not like only Huion doesn't have buttons. In fact, the mainline Wacom tablets also don't have buttons. So if this is the future, I may as well get a remote. I don't want to be playing around with this faffy nonsense anymore. There's no problem with the Switch, I just don't like using the Joy-Con on my computer. Feels good in the hand. It's not super ergonomic, but it's hand-sized, so that's fine. It may be a little big for some people's hands, but it seems to fit in my average size hands right now. Let's plug it into the computer and see how it works. I forgot to mention actually, inside the box it also looks like you get a cable for charging. This is a micro USB cable. This is quite a cool instruction manual. I mean, fair enough, this is a $100 remote. Alright, so I've gone onto the Wacom website and I've installed Wacom Tablet Driver, which has given me this little thing here in the corner that says EK Remote, so it's already recognized that I've got the remote plugged in. Go to Wacom Tablet Preferences and I'll set up the remote let's see. Oh, I have to switch it on. Hold on a second. Okay, so you switch it on and you get a little blue light here on the bottom. Okay, so it's actually responding now. You can see I can switch between the 3 modes by pressing the button in the middle. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's nice. It's got a little on-screen display to show which mode I'm in. So I think, oh, wow. How am I gonna say it's gone completely bonkers and it's just typed a load of shortcuts into this little corner thing here. So essentially, if you switch between these modes, it actually changes what the touch ring does. I actually thought it changes what all the buttons do on the remote. It actually only changes what happens on the touch ring. And you can actually choose between scroll, keystrokes, or rotate, or whatever shortcut you feel like having. But essentially, I only want to have 2 shortcuts. So let's go to inner keys. I'm gonna set the middle one to spacebar. So just type space on here and it comes up with my shortcut. And the one in the middle I want to be a keyboard shortcut, which is option space, like so. Just write a name in here, zoom. And on the bottom one here, I'm going to set it up for another keystroke and have it for shift space, which I believe is rotate. So it should be all set up, and this is for all applications. You can actually customize it for each application separately. So if you want to have an application like Photoshop with separate settings for this remote, you can do that. But right now, we're just going to run Clip Studio Paint and see if this works. All right, so I've got Clip Studio Paint up and running, and the reason that I want to use this remote instead of shortcut keys is I don't like to have my arm like stretched out like this all the time over to the table or to, you know, the chair next to me. I don't like to have my arm extended because I start to get like muscle tension. Whereas if I have a remote, I can actually have it underneath the table or over the table, or I can just leave it here and just press it like this. I can have my left hand using it like a keyboard if I wanted to, but I'm just going to hold it like so, and I believe, yes, if I press this button, it goes into move mode. If I press the middle button, I can go into zoom in, which is excellent. So for example, let's say I was sketching something like so, and I wanted to zoom in, get a little more detail over here, zoom in. Oh, this is fantastic. This works incredibly well. There's absolutely no speed issues. Now I have heard that brush size is not fantastic, so let's just see if I can yeah, it's not, honestly, I will never use the touch dial. You can't really see it very clearly here, but it does change the brush dial, but it's got this like delay. It's not a delay, but it's just not, it's a little bit too sensitive. You might be able to change that separately, but I don't think I'm going to be using that feature. Zoom back out. Now, of course, if I were going to be drawing like so, like this, and then I want to rotate the page, I can just press the 3rd button here. Okay, rotate, move, rotate. I might change this so that rotate is actually in the middle rather than zoom. I'll probably be rotating more than I'm zooming. All right, this works fantastically well. So there you have it, that is the Expresskey Remote. Another reason I wanted to get it is that this button, something about the Huion driver which just hasn't been updated, it doesn't allow me to use the pen button to, like, you know, hold down the button and drag around on the canvas. So until they get that fixed, I would prefer to just have a very reliable set of shortcut keys. Apparently I'm only using 3 of the 12, but I will probably look into, oh, hang on. Oh, there's actually 2 buttons on the top. I didn't realize this. So I actually miscalculated. There's actually not one button at the top. There's actually 2 separate buttons here at the top. Plenty of buttons, more than I actually need. I really only need to zoom, move the canvas, and rotate. Those are really the only shortcut keys that I actually use when drawing in Clip Studio Paint, but it is nice to have all of these shortcuts. That's kind of interesting. I didn't realize that I would do. That's actually quite nice. Pleasantly surprised to be able to just rest it on the table and just use it sideways like a keyboard remote. Is it worth $100? I don't know. I mean, I've only just unboxed it and I'm not really sure how much use I'll get out of it, but with the Huion tablet, I'll certainly be using this rather than the keyboard. So yeah, that's it. Do look forward to the Huion review. That is going to be going up soon. It's the Canvas GT191. Essentially, it was working perfectly fine. It's just that I was a little miffed by why the button on this pen wasn't allowing me to drag around the canvas. So I could use keyboard shortcuts, but I don't really like to have my arm reaching out to the keyboard, which is why I went for the Expresskey Remote. It's expensive, but this is pretty much what you need for all the current generation Cintiqs because they don't ship with buttons anymore, and quite rightly so. The buttons are kind of unnecessary, and if they break, it means that the whole tablet is kind of broken. But getting rid of mechanical keys on their tablets, they can just put all the mechanical stuff here on a separate remote. So if this breaks, you can just go and buy a new one. Apparently you can have like up to 5 of these on other Cintiqs. So it depends, like I think you might be able to have multiple ones. I don't know, if it depends what computer you're using, but you can have multiple remotes on one wireless receiver. A bit of a shame that you need the wireless dongle to make this work, but I don't know, I quite like it, and I'm actually quite tempted to see if I can actually do some video editing with just this remote, because I usually have a one-handed system of editing because it's just a bit faster than using both hands and getting your arms really tired. If you're editing for like 9 hours a day, your arms get really tired. So anyway, I'll be experimenting more with the Expresskey Remote. Just wanted to give you a short demonstration. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share the links and all that good stuff, and look forward to the Huion review, which will go up hopefully very, 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 very soon. And I'll see you in the next NihongoGamer video.